Hello, this is Dr. Grande. Today's question is, can I analyze the case of Alexee Trevizo? Just a reminder, I'm not diagnosing anybody in this video, only speculating about what could be happening in a situation like this. If you enjoyed this video, please like it, subscribe to my channel, and consider supporting me on Patreon. I'll put the link to Patreon in the description for this video. First, I'll look at the background of this case, move to the timeline of the alleged crime, then offer my analysis. Alexee Trevizo was born in 2003 and lived in Artesia, New Mexico. This is about 4 hours southeast of Albuquerque. In 2023, she was a senior in high school, where she had a 3.86 grade point average. She was a member of the choir and on the cheer team, which I presume is another way of saying she was a cheerleader. She was planning on attending New Mexico State University after graduation. Alexee had a boyfriend named Devin Fierro. They had been together for over 2 years. Based on interviews conducted by the police, it is reasonable to believe that Alexee became pregnant sometime around April 2022 and concealed her pregnancy from her mother. Now moving to the timeline of the alleged crime. On January 27, 2023, Alexee Trevizo arrived at the Artesia General Hospital and reported having lower back pain. She was moved into a patient room and evaluated by hospital staff. It appeared as though Alexee was trying to conceal her pregnancy from the treatment providers. For example, she was wearing baggy clothing. When questioned by staff about the possibility that she was pregnant, Alexee denied being pregnant. She said that she did not have sex and she had regular periods. The results of a pregnancy test indicated something else. Alexee was in fact pregnant. At about 1:39 a.m., Alexee can be seen on a hospital surveillance camera running down the hallway, entering a bathroom, and locking herself inside. Nurses heard water running, repeated toilet flushing, and frequent use of a paper towel dispenser. A few staff members asked Alexee if she needed assistance. She responded in a way which implied she did not. After checking on her several times, hospital staff grew concerned about her safety. Alexee was told to exit the bathroom, but she did not. A hospital employee obtained the keys to the bathroom from security in order to unlock the door. Alexee was informed that staff would be entering the bathroom, but before entry was made, Alexee opened the bathroom door and exited. This was 19 minutes after entering. She didn't say anything and walked back to her room. Upon inspection of the bathroom, the nursing staff was alarmed because there was blood everywhere. They did not know what happened. They thought maybe Alexee had brought harm to herself or was experiencing some type of pregnancy-related medical problem. Nursing staff notified housekeeping to clean the bathroom. At about 2:08 a.m., a housekeeper entered the bathroom and cleaned the blood. At about 2:26 a.m., when she was done cleaning, she went to take the trash bag out of the receptacle, but found that it was heavier than expected. Upon closer inspection of the trash receptacle, the housekeeper found a trash bag under other items. The end of the bag was tied and folded underneath itself. The bag contained what appeared to be a baby. The housekeeper called the nursing staff for assistance. 2 nurses opened the trash bag and found a full-term newborn male. The baby was cold, blue, and exhibiting no signs of life. His temperature was 95 degrees. According to staff, the umbilical cord looked like it had been torn apart by an animal. The nurses contacted a physician who pronounced the baby dead at 2:28 a.m. Hospital staff notified the police, who arrived 2 minutes later. A physician had a conversation with Alexee about the incident. Alexee confessed to giving birth and hiding her baby in the trash can. She then tried to clean up the blood. Alexee said, "I'm sorry, it came out of me, and I did not know what to do." Referring to the baby using the word nothing, Alexee said nothing was crying. She insisted the baby never breathed or moved. Alexee also referred to the baby as it when she said she put it in a bag. An autopsy was conducted on the baby, who was referred to as Baby John Doe. He was alive when he was born and died shortly after. He had no physical abnormalities or obvious injuries. He had air in his lungs, which indicates that he had been breathing. The cause of death was ruled as entrapment. This happens when an individual is in an airtight or relatively airtight container where there is not enough oxygen to sustain life. The manner of death was ruled as homicide. An arrest warrant was issued for Alexee. The police went to the residence where she lived, which also appears to be the home of several other people, including her mother. Despite her mother being argumentative with the police, they executed a very polite arrest. Alexee Trevizo was charged with first-degree murder and tampering with evidence. She is facing life in prison for the murder charge alone. Her attorney told the media that Alexee is innocent and claimed there was much more to the story. He alleged that she was failed by the hospital and ended up giving birth without help. Her attorney believed it was outrageous that she was facing a first-degree murder charge. He said, quote, "She's in great distress because she's in jail and never been there before and didn't do anything to deserve being there. I don't care what the state of New Mexico may allege," unquote. He further stated, quote, "She just lost a son. She just lost a child. I mean, come on, there has to be some common human decency here," unquote. Alexee was eventually released from jail on a $100,000 bond. She must receive mental health counseling. She has not been confined to her residence, does not have to wear an ankle monitor, and is allowed to leave the state of New Mexico. She attended her high school prom in April 2023. At the time I'm making this video, Alexee maintains the presumption of innocence. Now moving to my analysis. There does not seem to be too much doubt that Alexee committed some type of offense here, but some people, like her attorney, believe that first-degree murder is a stretch. This brings me to the question, is Alexee guilty of first-degree murder? Let's take a look at the evidence both for and against the idea that she is guilty, starting with the inculpatory factors. It seems clear that Alexee knew that she was pregnant prior to arriving at the hospital, or at least she should have known. She was captured on video cheerleading 3 weeks before the alleged murder. Most people looking at that video would conclude that Alexee was pregnant. It seems fairly obvious. Alexee tried to hide her pregnancy from hospital staff by wearing baggy clothing. She denied being pregnant or even having sex. She demonstrated a clear ability to be deceptive. The staff at the hospital described her as manipulative and having no emotions except about herself. Alexee did not demonstrate any concern about her baby. She didn't ask about his condition or anything about him and referred to him using the terms nothing and it. She only appeared to be interested in what was going to happen to her. Alexee gave birth, placed her child in a trash bag, and tied the bag. She knew that this behavior would cause the death of her child. It appears as though this was her intent. She tried to clean up the scene and conceal the body. When Alexee realized that hospital staff was going to enter the bathroom with or without her permission, she casually walked out and said nothing. She made no effort whatsoever to get assistance for her child. Moving to the exculpatory factors, if Alexee was planning on committing murder, why did she go to a hospital first? If she had perpetrated the offense in private, she would have increased her chances of escaping responsibility. There is a possibility that the autopsy results were incorrect. Perhaps Alexee's son was not alive. Perhaps there is some type of mental health defense available. Like Alexee was in denial about being pregnant, this denial can rise to a delusional level in some cases. When considering all the evidence, do I think that Alexee Trevizo is guilty of first-degree murder? Yes, I believe she is guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. She knew she was pregnant, she deliberately killed her child, and she concealed the evidence. Alexee may have been in denial about her pregnancy, but she still understood the difference between right and wrong. Before I offer my theory about what happened in this case, let's take a look at the construct of denial of pregnancy. This is an unusual thought process that occurs in about 0.25% of deliveries. The result of denial is often concealment of the pregnancy, but concealment is a separate act. Women sometimes conceal a pregnancy without denying the pregnancy. There are 3 types of denial of pregnancy. The first type is pervasive denial. About 1/3 of the cases qualify as pervasive. With this type, the emotional significance and the very existence of the pregnancy are outside of the woman's awareness. All the physical symptoms of pregnancy, like weight gain and even labor pain, can be misinterpreted. With pervasive denial, family and friends often do not know the person is pregnant. The second type is affective denial. This is the most common type, accounting for about 50% of the cases. Here, only the emotional component of pregnancy is denied. The woman continues to think, feel, and behave as if she is not pregnant. Life goes on for the woman, and she doesn't really emotionally invest in the pregnancy, but she does realize that she is pregnant. The third type is psychotic denial. This is the least frequent type. It is straightforward. A woman with this type is delusional. She is out of touch with reality. Just like people can believe that others are inhabited by aliens or they're being spied on by the government, people can believe that a real pregnancy does not actually exist. About 50% of women with denial of pregnancy have a mental disorder. Research indicates this figure is probably underestimated. A mental health assessment is strongly recommended for anyone who has denial or concealment of pregnancy. Unfortunately, the consequences of denial are more than just family and friends being surprised. Denial is associated with a dramatic increase in the risk of the child dying, especially within the first 24 hours following birth. Now moving to the last question, what do I think happened in this case? This is just a theory, my opinion. For any number of reasons, Alexee's mother did not approve of her daughter having sex. Perhaps she was adhering to some type of religious moral code or something like that. Alexee did not understand much about sex, but she was curious. She engaged in the activity with her boyfriend despite her mother's warnings. This resulted in pregnancy. At this point, Alexee was petrified about what her mother would do. She felt shame and did not want to tell her mother. Alexee developed an affective denial of pregnancy and decided to conceal the pregnancy. On January 27, 2023, Alexee was in pain, probably due to her pregnancy. One could make a good argument that she was in labor based on what happened afterward. She went to the hospital still hoping that she could conceal the pregnancy. Maybe she thought that she would receive some pain medication and go home. When hospital staff started talking about pregnancy, Alexee knew that she was going to get caught. As this was happening, she could tell that it was time to give birth. She ran to the bathroom, gave birth, and murdered her child. It never occurred to her that he was a human being or that life had some type of intrinsic value. From her point of view, he was an inconvenience. He was nothing, like when she said nothing was crying. The sole focus of Alexee was to avoid disappointing or aggravating her mother. Her mother's reaction was the only thing on her mind. If Alexee had simply explained her situation to hospital staff, they would have permitted her to leave the baby there. They would have found a new home for him. But that strategy involved too much risk of Alexee's mother finding out. Alexee was willing to kill to keep her secret. Now moving to my final thoughts. The death of Alexee's son was 100% unnecessary. Alexee had many other options outside of allegedly committing murder. She was 19 years old. She could have gone to the hospital alone. She could have told the truth to her mother, or she could have told the truth to hospital staff. It never occurred to Alexee to accept responsibility for her behavior. Those are my thoughts in the case of Alexee Trevizo. Please put any opinions and thoughts in the comment section. They always generate an interesting dialogue. As always, I hope you found my analysis of this topic to be informative. Thanks for watching.